Welcome back to 20 Side Adventures. My name's Ryan. This is Rogue 201, where we're going to go through the various rackets or subclasses that you can choose with your rogue. One of the interesting things about taking these rackets is it can change your key stats. So if you want to be leaning into something other than just dexterity, this is the way to go, as well as you will have access to different weapons trainings based on your racket. I'm also going to dip into the Wayback Machine and cover a legacy racket if you are interested in trying to play a magical wielding rogue, though it was removed in Remaster. Legacy content is still available to you if your GM will allow it, so check in with your GM if this is something of interest to you. There has been a lot of suspicion that we are going to be getting a new archetype or a class archetype that's going to change this because the racket's a little strange and not maybe one of the best routes to go, but if it's something that's interesting to you, the option is there and you should talk to your game master about it, because one of the great things about Pathfinder is it's super hard to build a bad character, and despite what the internet may tell you, you do not have to optimize everything to the fullest. You can create characters that are fun and interesting and are still effective and useful at your table. So keep that in mind whenever you are building your character. If you like what we're doing here on the channel, please leave a like and subscribe down below. Very much appreciate it. Easiest way to support the channel, leave a comment. I do enjoy chatting with you all. We are pushing for 1,000 subs by year's end, and we are getting close, but time's also running out. So if you're one of the folks that watches frequently and hasn't subbed, just go ahead and hit that down below. I'd very much appreciate it. With no further ado, let's get into Rogue 201. We're back for Rogue 201, where we're going to talk about the rackets. The first is Mastermind. You are the brilliant planner. You are figuring out the Ocean's 11's way into the casino. You are all about the plan at hand. This does give you some interesting other potentials on how to play the rogue with this racket in mind as the driven detective, a spy master in service to a powerful house, or that aspiring crime lord or information broker for just some idea for character creations. If you successfully do a recall knowledge to identify a creature, that creature is off guard against your attacks until the start of your next turn, and if you critically succeed, it's off guard for 1 minute. So in my opinion, this is a must-take if you are wanting to play a ranged rogue. You are trained in society, as well as you gain arcana, nature, occultism, or religion. You can also choose intelligence as your key attribute. So now if you're leaning into intelligence, on top of all of those other skills you learn, you get even more. So if you want to be the skill above skills for all rogues, Mastermind is the path for you. Ruffian is the next racket, where you are leaning into strong arming and intimidation. You are the brute of the bandits. You are the bully of the noble house. You are someone who has relied on using your strength and presence to impose your will on others. You can deal sneak attack damage with any weapons, not just the ones listed in the sneak attack class feature, so you no longer are restricted to agile or finesse weapons. However, this benefit doesn't apply to simple weapons with damage greater than D8 or martial or advanced weapons with damage greater than D6. But you do have a much wider variety of weapons that you can utilize at the D6 level and not have to rely on agile or finesse. This is a great racket choice if you really don't want to be leaning into dexterity. You also get the critical specialization with these weapons, again, so long as they're off guard to you, so you still have to make sure you're getting in those good positions, but the Ruffian is the way to get a much wider choice of weapon selections for your rogue. You become trained intimidation. You can also get medium armor, so if you want to be a little bit of a more fighter-centric rogue, this is how you can do it. Strength is your other choice for a key attribute, and when your light armor increases, your medium armor increases with it. So this is a little bit more of the martial rogue, I guess is the best way to put it. Next, you have the Scoundrel. This is your wanting to be Han Solo, fast talking, that kind of rough around the edges but good heart maybe character. You are trained in deception and diplomacy, as well as charisma can be your key ability score. So if you want to be the face of the party and you want to be leaning into lots of charisma stats, the Scoundrel is the right way to go for you. This is going to augment the feint action. So when you feint someone successfully, they're off guard for all of your melee attacks this turn, not just the next one. And on a critical success, the target is off guard against everyone's attack, not just yours. So this makes you way more valuable to all the members of your party because that feint activity activity, which you're probably really good at with high deception, and charisma is going to make people off guard for all of your friends without having to necessarily get into those flanking positions with you. So they can maybe play it a little safer, because sometimes flanking's forcing you to get out and away from your allies a little bit. Additionally, if you feint while you're wielding an agile or finesse weapon, which why wouldn't you be, because you're wanting that sneak attack damage, you can step immediately after the feint as the free action. So you are not only aiding all of your allies with that potential deception and feint activity to get targets off guard, you can also better position yourself on the battlefield. And then lastly, the thief, which is probably the most archetypical version of the rogue that you have in mind. You become trained in thievery, and while you don't get a different option in your key stat, you get the very important, you get to add dex to damage instead of strength. So for the most traditional rogue in mind, to deal the maximum amount of damage, to get the sneak attack, to be dealing with the stealing and the traps and all of that kind of things, the thief is likely what you are most accustomed to from most other settings and games. Now, there is one other option here, the Eldritch Trickster. This is legacy content, so this did not get remastered with the remaster and is now not part of the traditional book, but as they've said, everything that was previously done is available to you. So if you are interested in this, talk with your GM and see if it's available. This is the Eldritch Trickster, where you are using magic to augment your thievery. What this gives for you is you choose a multi-class archetype as a free feat. So this is giving you the option, this is giving you a free feat with a multi-class dedication. So that means it has to be a sorcerer, a wizard, a witch. It can't be a bizarre archetype that grants spellcasting. Maybe you could talk to your GM, and since we're already kind of dipping into legacy content, they might let you bend the rules on that and grab an archetype that grants casting. But this is supposed to be one of the core classes that you then take the archetype for, and it has to grant spell casting. The other benefit that this gives you is that you can take the magical trickster rogue feat at 2 instead of 4, so you can get that a little earlier. And then you can choose the spell casting ability for your free multi-classing archetype as your key attribute for the Eldritch Trickster. A lot of talk on the internet was not a really big fan of this racket, which I can see why without a free archetype style game, because you just don't have enough feats to really lean into the magic stuff to get the benefit from it. There's also been a lot of rumor that we might potentially be seeing a new class archetype coming out to replace this in the coming days. Always keep an eye out for that, but if you're really wanting to play that magical rogue class, this might be able to fit that niche for you. Although, truth be told, I think you'd be better off taking one of the other rackets and then just going a true free archetype game and choosing a magical caster. All right, guys, that is 201. Let me know what you think in the comments. What's your favorite racket? As always, if you like what we're doing here, leave a like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. I'm going to wish you a fantastic time on your 20-sided adventures. We'll catch you next time.